Namaste everyone, I am your host Apurv. Welcome back to my YouTube channel Insights from Apurv. In my previous video, I have discussed in detail about the TOEFL test sections and individual question types and how to solve those question types. If you have not seen that video, kindly watch those videos in order to get acquainted with the TOEFL test sections and those question types. In my today's video, I will discuss in detail about the TOEFL test tips and how to pass TOEFL test successfully with a higher score. So stay tuned. If you're new to my channel, please do not forget to press the subscribe button and also do not forget to press the bell icon so that you all can get instant notifications when I post my upcoming videos. Now, let's get started. Now, let us see the generalized tips for TOEFL examination. The first general tip is know the instructions before. Before starting with any of the tests, you all should know what is the test about, why is the test conducted, and whether or not you have given sufficient time to yourself for preparing for that individual test. Be there to practice each and every day. Use ETS official material for practicing and the official software which is provided in the TOEFL IBT official guide in a CD for practicing and getting acquainted with the software itself. Next step is follow the directions. There are different directions on how to approach a particular section and question types. Use those from the official section of the TOEFL guide to get acquainted with the directions that are given in for individual section types. The next steps is use help. There is an option of help in the software where you can review the directions only when they are absolutely necessary, because using the help icon in the software or in the actual examination, the time will not stop, which will lead to decrease in time for you to solve the question. So use this option of help only when it is absolutely necessary. The next step is be calm. You need not panic. Concentrate on the current questions only and do not think about how you have answered other questions. This is a habit that you will gain with consistent practice. The next tip is practice more. The more and more you practice, the more and more you get acquainted with one particular type of the question or the individual section. It is just as developing a habit. Habits are developed by doing things regularly. So the more regularly you practice yourself with the TOEFL material, with the question types, with the section types, and how to solve those question types individually, how to recognize those question types individually, then only you will be able to get more score in the TOEFL examination. The last tip for general tips for TOEFL test is too much time. Too much time here means that you should not spend too much time on one particular question. You should not linger on it. If you have given a question some thought and you still are unaware of the answer, or are not able to arrive at the answer, eliminate as many answer choices as possible and then select the best remaining choice. Even if you don't know the answer, it is best to choose which is the most prominent to you after reading or listening to that particular question type in that particular passage or the listening material. However, it is best to do this only after all the questions have been answered. So you should stay focused and you should save your time and come back to these question types which you were unable to answer later on once you have answered all the questions. Now let us see the reading tips for TOEFL examination. The first tip is scanning. This means you should scan the passages to find and highlight key facts, dates, numbers, terms, and other informations before beginning to answer the question types. Next one is IRR. IRR stands for increased reading rate. You will be able to increase your reading rate once you are doing regular practice. Use magazines, newspapers, books, encyclopedias and other stuffs to read different types of reading materials day by day so that you can get acquainted with them and you can easily increase your reading rate. The next step is vocabulary. Vocabulary plays a major role in reading section, listening section, speaking section, as well as writing section. Throughout the test, it plays an important role. You can increase your vocabulary by going through dictionaries or by using flashcards. Next step is skimming. After skimming a particular passage, read it again and again more carefully and write it down, the main idea, major points, important fact. Skimming means to have a quick glance of that particular passage and to read it very fastly without paying much further attention but still recognizing the important points. Next comes is identification. Identification here means you should know the context of pronouns. For example, how the term pronouns like he, him, they, them were used for or what they are referring to in the passage. So identification of pronouns will fetch you marks in those respective questions. Next type is arriving. Arriving means to arrive at inferences and to draw conclusions based on what is implied in that particular kind of the passage. I hope these reading tips will prove beneficial to you while giving your TOEFL examination. Do not forget to scan it, increase your reading rate, build your vocabulary, skimming through the passage, identifications of pronouns and what they refer to, and making your own conclusions. The next step is for the listening section. The first step is vocabulary. As told to you before, for the reading tips, vocabulary plays a crucial role throughout the test. Building your vocabulary is a must. Read different newspapers, articles, blogs, magazines to increase your vocabulary. Use flashcards. Next step is focus. Focus on the flow and content of the spoken material. Do not be distracted by the speaker's style and delivery. The third point is anticipation. Anticipation here means to recognize what the speaker wants to say or what he will be willing to say in the upcoming minutes or the seconds that he will be speaking. By noticing the prior important keywords, points, and the delivery of the lecture being delivered. The next point is jotting. Jotting means to write down, to take notes. So copy the main words, major points, important details on different lines of paper. Continue to listen until all important points and details are written down by you and then review them. Listen carefully and write the points while listening only. The last point or the last step in listening section is arriving. Arriving here means same thing as I told to you in the reading section before. To arrive at conclusions. Generally, the listening section does not measure the summarizing skills, but this arriving or the summarizing skills will be beneficial to you in the integrated task when the speaking and the writing skills will be combined. The next tips are for the speaking section. The first step is listing. Listing here means to make a list of topics that are familiar and you should practice speaking about them regularly, either with a friend, family, or anyone known, or even an unknown person if he is willing to give you a time. The next point is describing. Describing here means to describe a particular place or a personal experience in your own words. The next point is, or the next step is choosing. Choosing here means to choose the points where you are able to speak for your own self. Choose those kinds of topics which first build your confidence so that more and more confidence is gained with the familiar topics. Then you can practice with those unfamiliar topics to speak more fluently. The next tip is recommending. Make a recommendation and explain why the topic that you have chosen is the best way to proceed, or why you are recommending that particular topic, or why you have recommending that particular thing in a particular topic, and to explain it. The next tip is timed responses. Practice with timed responses. Generally speaking, sections are timed, so you need to practice by giving yourself timed responses using a stopwatch. Practice giving 1 minute responses to topics. The next tip is for the writing section. The first tip is answers to questions. You all would have practiced answering questions in your schools, colleges, or universities. Find a textbook that includes questions about the material at the end of chapters and practice writing answers to the questions. This will increase your writing speed and arriving answers to the questions. Next is noting. Noting is making an impression of something here. Read an article, for example, of somewhere 200, 400, 300 words long. Make an outline that includes major points, important details, and note them down. Use those notes as a summary of the information and ideas, and then try to build your own conclusion using those points. Be sure to paraphrase using different words and grammatical structures. Synthesizing. Synthesizing means to combine the information. Discuss how the reading and the listening sections materials relate together in integrated tasks. For this, you need to practice first the reading skill, the listening skill, and then amalgamate the reading and listening skills to arrive at the writing skill. The next step is paraphrasing. Paraphrase means to write it in your own word to avoid plagiarism. So you must be able to write any particular answer in your own words. The last and final tip for the TOEFL test in this particular video that I will be offering to you is acquainted. In any examination, it is very important for the student to get acquainted with the test itself. Make yourself calm, be patient, give yourself enough time to practice and preparation so that you know what are the different sections that will be coming up, what are the question types that will be followed, and how those question types are structured. So acquainting yourself with the examination, with the structure, question types will prove very beneficial for you to remain calm and give accurate answers, and thus scoring more points in your TOEFL examinations. I wish you all the best for your TOEFL examinations, and please do not forget to subscribe my channel and do not forget to press the like button. Thank you and keep watching.